5 celebrities that became successful against all odds. It's one thing to become successful, while it's another to become successful after going through a series of multiple unfortunate life events. Today, we'll be taking a deep dive into the past of 5 celebrities that started from the bottom with nothing and reached the top against all odds. So sit back, grab your favorite snack, and let's get started. J.K. Rowling. Finding someone who's never heard of J.K. Rowling might be really difficult. Rowling is the author of the worldwide much-loved series of 7 Harry Potter novels that have been translated into 73 languages. Even after having sold over 500 million copies and earned over $20 billion in her career, she still considers herself the biggest failure she knew. But why? Before publishing her first book, the famous author had a really tough life. In 1990, she decided to move to Portugal to teach English. In Portugal, she met and married a Portuguese journalist. Very soon, the marriage fell apart, leaving her alone to cater for her baby girl, born in 1993. After her divorce, she came back to Edinburgh. She had no job, nothing to sell, but still 2 mouths to feed. She started struggling with depression, and while raising her child with the small amount of unemployment benefits, she got the Harry Potter idea while traveling on a train from Manchester to London. While struggling to feed her daughter, she started working very hard on her first book. After finally having written 3 chapters, she started to send copies to multiple publishers, and all came back very quickly with rejection letters. After 12 rejections, the editor Bloomsbury Publishing Company eventually agreed to publish Rowling's novel. J.K. Rowling went from being a single mother without a job, living from the small benefits she received, to one of the biggest-selling authors of all time. She earned over $400 million in book sales and another $476 million in ticket sales from the last movie alone, making her the first female billionaire author. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is popularly recognized as the queen of talk shows, and her story is very emotional and inspiring as well. Oprah beat through the odds as she rose from poverty to become a world-famous billionaire. She suffered a very tough childhood as she lived with her single mother who had to work long hours as a housemaid. She was left at home alone most of the time with her grandmother, where she was severely abused by male relatives and visitors, one of which took her to the ice cream shop while the blood was still flowing down her legs. She endured these events at ages 9 to 10. And when you think she suffered enough, the worst has yet to come. At age 14, things turned even worse for Oprah. Her mother gave up her sisters for adoption, and her brother died from AIDS. She decided to run away from home that same year and got pregnant prematurely. She decided to keep the pregnancy a secret till the baby's delivery, but unfortunately had a miscarriage. Oprah went to her father and found the chance to go to school. She said her father saved her life. He was very strict and provided her with guidance, structure, rules, and books. Surprisingly, Oprah began to excel in school and took an interest in journalism. She knew she had to devote herself in order to rise above her challenges. The popularity of Oprah's show really exploded after the success of The Color Purple, and after she sold the rights to distribute a television program in 138 cities, a record for first-time syndication. That same year, although Donahue was being aired on 200 stations, Oprah's audience increased by 31%, which was twice the audience of Donahue at the time. In 1986, she received a special award and was named Woman of Achievement by the National Organization of Women. Oprah won multiple prizes as Best Talk Show host, and her show even won multiple Emmys for Best Talk Show. Jay-Z. When talking about people that became incredibly successful starting from the very lowest places, we have to mention Jay-Z. He was born as Sean Carter and is today one of the most known and successful rappers in the world. He and his 3 older siblings were raised by their single mother after his father abandoned them. Jay-Z grew up in a difficult environment, somewhere in a public house in the heart of Brooklyn, where you could find guns lying in every house and where the smell of drugs covered the air. Sean was always a very smart child and had to provide for his family at a very early age. Because everyone in the city was using drugs, he decided to drop out of high school and sell it, even with all the risks and dangers. It was only when he grew older he started to really understand the negative effects of drugs on people. The entire community was out of order, and there was no one to set things right, as even the elders used money for the kids to buy drugs. In an interview, the rapper noted how he never took what he sold because it was a rule to protect the drug dealers, and he saw how much it turned the people crazy, including his brother, who was an addict. Rapping was a way for him to forget his daily life. He was extremely talented already at a young age and partnered with another rapper on a song that earned him a feature on MTV. Jay-Z kept working hard with several artists in order to get more and more songs recorded. Unfortunately, all of them had almost no success. In fact, every known label in the United States rejected him. Rather than quitting and going back, he tried it differently. He co-founded his own label called Rockefeller and became a producer himself. Unfortunately, most of the artists left the label before even making a first album. Jay-Z was the only one that released an album, but he and his friends persisted. Jay-Z was requested to collaborate on an album, Life After Death, which allowed his label to earn some press visibility. The next year, he released Hard Knock Life and Volume 2. His label blew up and became really successful. Later, it was sold to Def Jam Records for a few million. Today, Jay-Z is worth about $520 million and was ranked by Forbes the 6th most influential celebrity of 2014. He sold over 75 million records, owns a record company, won 19 Grammys, owns a clothing brand, owns real estate, businesses, hotels, and even an NBA team, and much more. Ed Sheeran. Ed is a British sensational songwriter and singer. Like so many others, Ed Sheeran did not have it easy before his road to stardom. He struggled through bullying, insecurities, depression, and his own inner battles. Ed steadily grew to embrace himself and his unique features and overcame his insecurities in order for the world to see him and his art. The famous singer is notable for his melodious voice, his skills with the guitar, and as being the shy ginger boy. However, Ed Sheeran battled with socializing and interacting with other students at school. He was bullied every day due to his stutter and oversized glasses. As a child, Ed underwent a laser eye surgery operation that went wrong, which left him with a lazy eye and serious speech problems. When he tried to speak in class, his mates would mock him, and he decided he would not raise his hands to speak in class again. But surprisingly, Ed Sheeran's stuttering and timidity did not surface whenever he sang. He always seemed to be more in control while singing. Being a gingerhead did not help Ed while he was young, too. He was always picked on about how ginger guys were unattractive. As if that wasn't enough, his speech therapy was not going well, and he feared that he would be like that for the rest of his life. Things began to change for him when his dad brought home Eminem's record. He was surprised a person could rap so fast, and it gave him the motivation he needed, and he learned every word in the record. He started writing his own music, singing and practicing, and just like that, his childhood stuttering trauma vanished. He continued to sing and write songs. He sang in small gatherings and bands and began to sell out his CDs. He delved into studying music and moved from one place to another for musical gigs. Things were not easy for Ed, but he continued to sing, play his guitar, and sell out his songs anywhere he went to and anyone who would listen. His big twist came in 2010 when he began to grow his online presence and everyone wanted to know the ginger boy who sang with his guitar. He posted a video online and got the attention of the English rapper Example. Ed was asked to do the opening act with him. This event led to the explosion of his online fan base and inspiration for his next songs. In 2010, Ed went to the United States where other famous fans like Jamie Foxx were waiting for him. Jamie invited Ed to a radio show, and just after his appearance on the radio, Ed released another extended play, his last as a solo artist. The EP reached the second place on iTunes without any marketing. Very soon after, he signed a deal with Atlantic Records. With Atlantic, Ed released his first major album. The album was an instant success. He sold over 1 million copies in the first 6 months alone in the United Kingdom. Soon, Ed started co-writing songs with even bigger artists such as Taylor Swift or One Direction. Ed's next success came when his song, I See Fire, was featured in the popular movie The Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug. In 2016, Ed took a break to work on his third album, and in January 2017, he released 2 singles from that album, Castle on the Hill and Shape of You. Both singles had immediate success, reaching the 1st and 6th place on the Billboard Hot 100. His new album broke a Spotify record for the most album streams on its first day, with 56.7 million listens in only 24 hours. Today, the English singer-songwriter has a net worth of $200 million. He's one of the wealthiest and most successful singers in the world. Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders is the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. He was very young when his father passed away. His mother had to take on long hours to provide for the family, so he cooked and watched over his siblings. At the age of 13, he dropped out of school and began to take on menial jobs, of which he lost most of them. He joined the army for a year. He worked on a farm as a laborer, blacksmith's helper, fireman, cleaner, and many more. Colonel Sanders began practicing law, but his legal career also failed with a brawl between himself and a client in the courtroom. In 1920, he launched a ferryboat company. Later, he tried investing in his ferryboat company to create a lamp manufacturing business, only to find out that a competitor was already selling a better version of his lamp. 4 years later, he bought a motel which burned to the ground along with his restaurant. Yet, the man's determination was still present. He decided to rebuild and ran a new motel until World War II forced him to close it down. At the age of 65, he was depending on his savings and the money he got from Social Security. Even when he gave up, knowing he was a good cook since he'd been cooking from a young age, he founded a fried chicken business, Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. The fried chicken business became very soon popular. However, his joy was short-lived when he had to sell the shop for money. Sanders did not give up. He borrowed money and began to fry and sell chicken from door to door. With diligence and perseverance, Sanders started his Kentucky Fried Chicken business again and became a billionaire at the age of 88. At age 90, Sanders passed away from pneumonia. At the time, there were around 6,000 KFC locations in 48 countries. Today, we have more than 25,000 KFC restaurants in over 145 countries around the world. So remember, it's never too late to start your business. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and activate notifications for more inspiring videos. Cheers!